Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Wanting to do a little bit of a review and a how-to. I got the Milwaukee trimmer, weed whacker, weed trimmer, weed eater, however you might know it as, depending on where you live in the US, I'm assuming. I've heard all of them at this point. This is battery powered, M18. I purchased it probably about a year and a half ago. I've had really luck with it. I did have to send it in for warranty. It's got a 3-year warranty on it. Batteries have 5. I had to send it in because it was having intermittent, like the trigger was almost not recognizing something wrong with the circuit inside. So you'd hit the trigger, it'd run for a little bit and then just shut off. And it wouldn't happen at full charge, but it happened about 3/4 battery and down. And it just got worse and worse and worse. So that's just beginning of this year. I turned it in, no problems, got another one at my local shop. Hadn't seen really anybody online that had been having that issue, so I'm hoping it's a one-off. But I hope this one works good. But as of right now, I like it. I'm already in the Milwaukee ecosystem, so that helps. I've got impacts and drills and circular saws and a few other tools that I use. I've got a couple drills for work and drivers. So I'm kind of entrenched there. Everybody likes to have a system. DeWalt, you know, if you got DeWalt stuff, you normally tend to gravitate towards DeWalt. Makita, my dad has Makita stuff, decent stuff as well. I don't know what they offer. They may offer the same thing, they may not. I only know about Milwaukee because that's what I use. But this is the Milwaukee Fuel weed trimmer. They have the regular Milwaukee, it won't be the Fuel series. I do not recommend anything that is not the Fuel series. I have a grinder and I've had a few other tools that were not the Fuel series. They're atrocious. They work for 4 seconds, get really hot, shut off. They have no power. They're kind of what you would remember a drill or a grinder or something battery powered 15 years ago was, where they just weren't far enough along to replace corded or air tools. So I do recommend only the Milwaukee Fuel series. All my stuff's Fuel outside of the grinder, which it works. I don't use a grinder very often. It is nice for what I do, but it gets really hot and it does get overloaded pretty quick. So, but if I start using it more and more, I'd probably go buy a Fuel series. But for now, it does serve my purpose to keep that in consideration. But with a weed eater, leaf blower here, I would definitely consider it only the Fuel series. Otherwise, I think you're gonna run into problems. And also, I don't know about the attachments that's outside of the Fuel series. I think they're the same. I'm not positive on that, so I'm only speaking to the Fuel series. So this is a weed trimmer. You'll get it like this in 2 pieces, this and the trimmer itself. So what you're gonna wanna do here is you will wanna you will have to loosen this. It's not already loose. And then this is a button, it'll click into place. And you see the arrow right here? You're gonna go all the way up to the arrow. So it stopped right there before, but I've had it in, so there's a wear mark, and I've dealt with this enough before. I would make sure that you get it all the way in. So see the button kind of pushes in a little bit there. You gotta kind of wiggle it around. Sometimes you gotta get it just right. Also, the other thing is you gotta make sure the shaft lines up. So you reach down, twist the head. There's a spline gear that interlocks with a female side of it. That's what attaches your head trimmer to the actual motor itself to turn it. So make sure that once you get it up there, if you can't get it in, just give the head just a little bit of a twist slowly, and it should click into place. The button will pop back out. Give it a tug, a twist, and there shouldn't be a whole lot of movement. Crank this back down. Don't have to be Hulk about it, just low, snug is good enough. That's just enough to hold it in place, is the idea behind that. So that's the trimmer. That's the head if you can't see it. I've used it some, of course, so. This will come with, you can buy the weed trimmer, you'll get the rapid charger with it, and you'll get one XC 8.0 high output battery with it. That may change with time. Today I think is the 24th of September, or 25th of September, 2022. Batteries change with time. So as of the recording of this video, this is what comes with it. So yeah, I have also have, these are just off Amazon. They're, if you type in Milwaukee battery wall mounts or wall holders or battery holders, you'll find these. They'll give you the screws and stuff. Run the screws in the wall. They got the little clips here where it releases from the tool. It uses it on here. You'll listen. Clicks into place so it doesn't fall off, so I can't accidentally knock it out on my way by here to get to the door. I have my string. I use steel string, but Milwaukee sells their own. The Milwaukee stuff works good. I've used steel stuff. As you can see, I have a steel chainsaw here. I've had steel weed whackers at my father's house on the farm. You know, nothing beats gas whenever you're doing fence lines and stuff. Whenever you're doing it around your half-acre lot, you know, around a few trees every couple weeks. That's a little bit different. That's where battery comes in. I get about 25 minutes of runtime on this. So I normally use the big battery for this, and then whenever I'm all done, I go back around with the leaf blower, just throw one of my CP 3.0 batteries in, run around, just blow off the pad, all the brick around all the landscaping, all that, just get it out in the yard and then I mow. So that's what you get, but there's also an attachment that I just got, and there's more outside of this that I probably will get. So let's go ahead and take this off. So loosen that back up. Pushing the trigger, a little button here, and that just slides right out. I have trees around my house, and they grow and grow and grow and start to lean down to where my head's hitting them when I'm mowing grass. Cars start to they start dragging off the roof of the cars as well. My buddy came down with his about 4 years ago and trimmed up the trees. He's from Pennsylvania. I'm up in upstate New York. He doesn't come up here all the time, so I kind of realized I needed a pole saw. That's what really made me like the Milwaukee outside of the system. That I already have Milwaukee. I was willing to go with somebody else when it comes to this, because this is a separate deal from tools like battery powered impacts and drills and saws and stuff. I can live with having a separate system. They have attachments for this. That's why this is detachable. Otherwise this would be a solid shaft the whole way. There'd be no disconnecting it. So they have a pole saw, which I have now. It's basically a little bar like a chainsaw. Takes bar oil, just the same as a chainsaw does. Same thing as putting on the trimmer end. So you're gonna go ahead, slide it into place, and I'll do the same thing. Mine just so happened to go right into place. If it doesn't, here's what I would recommend to do. Because it runs, the sprocket runs the chain, be real easy. Don't stick your fingers in the actual blades itself. Grab a hold of the side where there's no blade. Just give it a little twist. Little pull, and try again. That will line the shaft up with the inside female mating end. So it'll connect this to the actual motor itself, so it'll drive the chain. See, doesn't line up, there you go. Give it a little wiggle, I was close enough. So now, I always like to give it a tug, give it a twist, it's locked into place with the button. Same thing, screw down the knob, don't have to be Hulk, just good and snug. Give it a little twist, doesn't move, good to go. Comes with a cover, it comes with the tool to change the chain. There's a little screw on the side here. Yeah, pull that back off, I'll show you that. So right here, just like if you've never used a chainsaw before, be very careful. Ear protection, eye protection, chainsaw chaps is always a good idea. This is gonna probably be above your head. Understand that, so be very, very, very careful. It's a disclaimer. I've seen people cut themselves and hurt themselves pretty bad. Dad's had 24 stitches in his knees because of saws with blades like this. Same with my cousin. They don't care. At the end of the day, this is an inanimate object. They don't care what's on the other side of it and has no feelings what damage it does to you. So keep that in mind. Eye protection, head protection, chaps if you can, anything to that sort. Do as I say, don't do as I do. I've run these quite a bit. I understand them, I grew up around them. That's a little bit different. But for somebody that is not experienced with this, be very careful. That's why I'm doing this video. This is for people who's not as educated as I am on them. I grew up with them. I was lucky enough to grow up on a farm. I know what this stuff is. I know what to do and what not to do. And even then, accidents still happen. So anyways, back to it. There's a tool that comes with this that has a hex head bolt or hex head socket on it, and it also has a handle on it that'll break that loose, but on the other end of that, it has a flat head, and this is your chain adjustment. That will tighten and loosen the chain, because when you loosen this up, this nut, you can move this bar back and forth. Inside, you'll see there's a little round dial that's connected to this that moves back and forth on our threaded rod that moves this bar in and out. And chains stretch with time. Brand new chains are gonna be a lot shorter than old chains because they're not quite as stretched. So this is your adjustment to get a good tension. And this is kind of what you're looking for here. You want just a little bit of movement. If you don't tighten it, this chain will fly off. There's also a sprocket inside that actually it gets onto, that you will put it on the sprocket, make sure the bar is in the actual dial, put the chain over top, be careful not to cut yourself. If it takes a little bit of time, so be it. Once you get it on, tighten down this nut most of the way, just to where it starts to be snug, and then use your screwdriver to tighten up the chain. You can have it loose at first, get the nut close, and then go ahead and tighten up the bar. Then finish your torque down here. I'm sure the manual says the torque spec snug's enough. Watch, chains can pop off still. If you get it caught in a tree, you start yanking on it, you can bend the bar, you can tear the chain up, you run it in the dirt, the blade's done. You'll have to get it resharpened, which you can buy a resharpening kit. I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube videos out there how to sharpen chains. I don't tend to do them myself. I've always gone to a buddy of mine. I've kind of got to be a little bit, because there's a certain angle these blades need. You start messing with areas of it, you can really change the way it cuts. So you can screw it up if you don't know what to do. Take it to your local, buy an extra one. My recommendation is have an extra one with you. So one on it and then one on the wall. And then say whenever you go, this year, say you're gonna cut down a few limbs. Use it, take it. If it feels like it's cutting slow, take it over to your local lawnmower shop. They'll sharpen it up in 5 minutes. They got sharpeners. I'm sure they'll do it. It might cost you $5. Or if you don't use it hardly at all, buy a new chain every time it goes dull and throw it in a pile. And when you get 5 or 6 of them, go have them all sharpened. But I don't think if you're using a battery powered, you're gonna be doing this very often. So I believe the one chain will probably get you through a couple of years, depending on how much you're cutting. Me, I haven't cut. I'll probably use it this year, and I might, because I have it, use it next year. But I'm gonna use it for like 20 minutes today when I go out to trim up some trees here to get before winter comes. So that's the attachment. But they also have other attachments too. They have cover back on here. Oh, something I did forget to mention. I already have bar. This is the reservoir for bar oil. Chainsaw bar oil. Look it up. It doesn't matter. I don't care what kind it is. Me, I'm steel. That's what I use. Doesn't matter to me. I only have a quart. They sell them in gallon jugs too. A quart will get you plenty enough. If you got your chainsaw at home, if you actually have a chainsaw that takes bar oil, it's the same oil. There's no difference. 2 lines here, minimum, maximum. Fill it up to the maximum. Keep an eye on the reservoir. Make sure it doesn't go empty. You'll burn up your chain. That's hard on chains. It'll change the way the metal is, and it may not sharpen right. It may never cut right again. Don't run it out of fluid. Recommendation. Simple enough. Just unscrew the cap whenever you're done. This pretty much stops. It's not like you're going to over tighten it. You come to almost a dead stop. Give it just a little bit of a torque. Good to go. They also sell a broom attachment for it. I think they have a cultivator for it for your gardens that go on it. They have this steel blade. So if you're getting into some really thick weeds on a tree line or something that you want to get rid of brush, they actually sell the metal star blade end. I think they sell the plastic bladed head as well that they make. Pole saw, trimmer end, and I do believe there was one other one. I feel like there was another one, but I can't think of it right now. But good system. You can buy this as just the pole saw. You can buy it just as the weed whacker trimmer, or you can buy this as a set too. I've seen them on Home Depot, Ace. You can probably buy them on Amazon. Anywhere anybody sells in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's come up quite a bit. Heck, my local hardware store, that's where I picked up this. It was a C-Corp, Do It Best store. They have them. They're a dealer of Milwaukee. Pretty easy to deal with. Batteries are good. Nothing, I don't recommend using anything. Like I said, the XC 8.0 battery, you get about 20-25 minutes runtime. You can use a smaller one if it's dead. Just don't expect as long runtime. You're gonna look at like maybe 10 minutes runtime. Another major feature that might dictate how long it lasts, speed. You throw the battery in this. Battery goes in right here. Clip it in. Batteries on these, you hit the little button, it'll give you your indicator. There's 4 lights. Mine's fully charged. It'll get down to 1 bar, and then whenever it's almost dead, it'll actually, when you hit the button, it'll flash that last light. So this here, it has 2 speeds. Right now it's in fast, it's lit up. Hit the button, it'll go into slow. So there's a rabbit and a turtle, just like a throttle on anything, a rabbit and a turtle. So you can switch them back and forth, and it's probably, turtle's not half the speed as rabbit, but I'd probably say 2/3 of the speed. But it's really helpful. You don't sling grass everywhere. I'm real big about not throwing grass all over my stuff. It makes a mess. Like whenever I'm close to my siding, I want to be real easy. You can also adjust your speed with the listen to the difference in speed. That's fast. You can hear the motor difference. But you can also fluctuate your speed with how hard you hold the trigger. So you can hear, you can also adjust your speed here with 2 speed settings here. I normally run it on slow most of the time, as long as the grass isn't too high. I start getting a little bit thicker stuff, I'll kick it up so it's got enough power, and then I'll just fluctuate my speed here depending on where I'm at in the house. If I'm running around a tree, just hold it wide open. If I'm running around like brick or around the siding outside, or don't want to sling stuff everywhere, I'll kind of feather the actual trigger a little bit. So in order to use this has a safety, so see, you can't push on it until you flip down, push down on that side, and then it releases a lock in here. Most chainsaws, anything of today, this chainsaw has it too. This is the same lever here on an actual chainsaw. They have the same thing, it's a lock so you don't accidentally bump it when your hand's in the way. If you ever change the string in it, always pull battery. String's relatively easy on there, comes with directions. You're gonna line up the 2 red lines on the bottom. If you look through, whenever you're at a string, you look through it, you actually see a hole all the way through to the other side. You're gonna cut yourself off 2, 3, 4, I don't know, 6, I'd probably say 6 to 10 feet of new string. Like I have steel here, Milwaukee, whatever you wanna use, it doesn't matter. You'll fish it straight through, all the way out the other side. It should come out the other hole. You might have to mess with it a little bit once it comes out. Pull it to where it's even on both sides, and then you're just gonna push it on the head and wind it the way it tells you to wind it until the string's, that far on each side. You're good to go. Bump the head, it'll kick the string out as it uses it. So a lot of the time I find, unless you're mashing up against something really hard like brick or something, the string kind of self-feeds itself. You don't really have to mess with it. I'm hitting brick and block and all kinds of hard surfaces around here. So when you do that, it'll chew it up real quick. Just give the head a bump. It'll cut off if it spits out too much. There's a little blade on the end of the actual shield of the actual head. So that's, but yeah, that's an introduction to that. Since I'm here, might as well just go ahead. I got my leaf blower as well, Milwaukee Fuel series, just the same. I bought these relatively close to each other. I basically went the battery power because I got sick of playing with my gas stuff every year. I gotta mix the gas, then I got a gallon of gas laying around and I don't use it all year, so now I gotta go somewhere with the gas because gas does go bad. By the next year, it's no good to use in your equipment. Normally what I did is I just dumped it in my lawnmower. Yes, it's mixed gas. Yes, it might smoke a little bit, but at least I got rid of it and I didn't throw it away. Gas is almost $4 a gallon. I'm not willing to waste 3/4 of a gallon of gas that's left over from the end of the year. Dump it in the lawnmower, put more gas on top of it. It's diluted so much, it doesn't really make much difference. I went the battery. My batteries are always being used. I have extras when one dies. As long as I'm not doing them, the amount of weed whacking I had, if I had to do much more, I would probably stuck with gas, but I'm right at that limit of where I would consider I can deal with battery powered. Throw the battery on and go weed whack. I don't have to sit there and pull it. I don't have to worry about it if it works. Doesn't matter to me. throw the battery in, go do my work, come back in and do what I want to do and not do what I have to do. So convenience is the biggest thing. A lot of my buddies have gone to it. They've got cold bolts. They've got, I don't know anybody with the egos. A lot of people aren't willing to spend the money on the egos. I've considered switching over because of this right here, or at least switching over with the leaf blower. This thing has power to do everyday things. I drive my car with it after I'm done washing it. It does not have that much power. It has enough, just barely enough, but it takes me extra time to drive the car. I've thought about buying one of those specifically just to drive my car. But for the meantime, I just stick with this. This is what they call a blower band. They come in 3 or 4 different colors. I think red, green, blue, gray. Just type in blower band. It's a rubber band, so if you bump something, in my case, you know, if I'm doing my car and I bump it, I don't have to worry about the plastic hitting it. It's a rubber band, so it's really soft. And then I also I bought this, I think this was on Etsy, but you know, there's many of them. It's a 3D printed short stubby. So here's a little button, push up, that releases the end. Now when I'm driving my car, I don't have this giant wand out here. I got a shorty here, so it's all right. It's kind of flimsy, but it does what I need it to do. Same thing, blower band for that as well. But yeah, I use this after weed whacking, blow off pad, same thing, high-low speed. Also has a trigger lock. So pulling the trigger all the way, push the buttons, release the trigger, release the button, and I'll hold it on. You want to take it off, you're all done, bump the trigger, it'll release that button, it'll flip down, shut off. So that's pretty much it. High-low speed. You'll see the same thing, significantly different. I use low whenever I'm around the house so I don't blow plants everywhere and dirt all over the place. I'm trying to get the dust off some block. I'm not trying to blow the house down. So I do my concrete pad with it. I blow my garage out in summer times with it. Or in the fall, like right now this season, leaves will start getting tracked in, start blowing in. I'll start dragging them in with my feet. And eventually it's the point I'll look around like, man, I don't want to deal with leaves. I use my leaf blower. So pull all my stuff out of my garage, blow out the garage, and then I vacuum the floor or whatever's left. So it's kind of some of the things that I use mine for. But they have little hooks right here, or little spaces for screws. I just have exterior screws run on the wall. Find a stud. If this is plywood or OSB 7/16. These aren't heavy. These will hang on the wall on plywood or OSB or whatever you have on your wall. But if you have drywall or tin, you're gonna want to find a stud to put a screw in. But once you do, put it up there, look back. It's pretty simple. Once you don't see the screw, just let it down really slowly and it'll latch in place. Weed trimmer has the same thing. Screws up there. It's a little bit trickier to find the hole in this one. But I've actually got a mark one on mine, so it kind of gives me an idea. I've had it long enough now and used it enough. Maybe I'll go over my chainsaw one day. I mean, it's a chainsaw, so you know, that's a hanger from Amazon. Type in chainsaw handle hangers, and you'll probably find it on Amazon, eBay, wherever. They're just 3D printed. If you got a 3D printer, make one. Make one and start selling them. Maybe you can make a better one than some of the ones that are out there. I don't like the look of that one, but it was the heaviest one I could find. So, but yeah, that's it. I just wanted to give you a little deal on some lawn care and some things you might be looking into. Electric, battery-powered stuff starting to become big with at least lawn work. I think it has its place in smaller yards. I got about a half acre, probably about 10 trees to run around the house, do the ditch down by the road. Depending on how high the grass is, I can get through all of it on the one big battery. So, and you can also buy the HD 12.0. That'll definitely get you by and let you blow everything off probably. But I don't like the additional weight. This is a good balance on that machine. I think that's why they sell it that way. So, or you can go smaller. But yeah, some of the things that I wanted to show you. I'm gonna actually get ready to go use the pole saw for the first time. My girlfriend just got it for me. I'm sure it works great. I've seen it used many of times on, from other people. So I'm gonna go out here, trim some trees. If I run into any issues, I'll give you an update, but as of right now, the only issue I've had is this one going back for warranty due to trigger problems. I'm hoping it's a fluke. I think this is the updated version that they gave me back. Not really anything changed, just probably changed some internals. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Oh, other thing, trimmer string. I do believe it only accepts 0.085 or 0.95 size. Double check when you purchase it. It comes with string already pre-wound in the head, but definitely look in there and see what size they recommend. Max size. You want to make sure. I always recommend getting kind of a heavier duty one. It lasts a little longer. This is 0.95. A lot of the weed eaters you buy at Home Depot and Lowe's and stuff that are gas powered, that are really weak, which I had, this beats it by a long shot. I can actually put heavy duty stuff in here and not have any issues versus the really cheap gas ones for $100. But the string size, this will take, I think, up to, I know it'll take 0.95 inch string. I've used it in the old head, so I know it'll work in this head. It hasn't changed. The cheaper ones you find at Home Depot that are gas, they normally only accept up to like 0.085 or even 0.075, so, or smaller. So the heavier the string you can get, maybe better, may not be. With this, I love it. It does fantastic. You're not going through as much string as often. That's the big key to me. So that's why I buy a heavier string. I may get into some of the wood stuff, a little bit of brush. It holds up a lot better. So, all right, well, that'll do it. I appreciate it. And, I'll catch you in the next video.